Hi there. I just want to take a few moments for those who are still running old versions of Windows and SQL Server to look at some of the options you have for modernising with those. In particular, because Windows SQL Server is in support coming October 2023, and SQL Server 2012, if you're watching this, in July or onwards from 2022, is now reached end of support. And when it reaches end of support, you don't have access to security updates or any other feature patch upgrades as well. So you consider what those options are. So I wanted to take you through the 8 options that are available to you to consider. So working from left to right on the diagram here, the first is you could retire your service. So if you have a legacy application or legacy workloads that you want to no longer use, there's no point in sort of going through that modernisation piece, but you have a path for knowing it's going to retire. In most clients I work with, that's hardly ever the option. The next piece then is do nothing, which is great from a short-term point of view, because sometimes it's really complex to try and move workloads or upgrade workloads. But the challenge is that if you want to maintain compliance or security patches, you need to pay, there's an option you have to pay for those called Extended Security Updates, or ESU. And certainly it's hosted. You may have option have hosting in your own data center. That's okay, but if you're not taking up the ESU offering, or so paying for that is one option, and great for the short term to help you before you make plans for your workloads. But otherwise, if you don't want to pay for that ESU, then what other options do you have? Now, if you're not ready to go to cloud, like a lot of customers aren't, right, and we live in a hybrid world, then you can upgrade to the latest version of Windows or SQL Server in your data center. That's great from a medium to sort of long term. And if you go to a much higher version, you'll probably buy yourself somewhere from 5 to 10 years to be able to make that transition. And you don't need ESU in that case. Another option you have to help you to stay on premises is you can go to a hybrid using Azure HCI or Azure Stack and run that inside your own data center. And that's a good, more medium term and more tactical for that sort of 1 to 3 year horizon. If you take your workloads as they are across to that, you get complementary security updates in that hybrid mode as well. So it buys you a bit more time without having to pay that ESU cost. And there are programming offers from Microsoft to help you do that. If you are considering cloud's part of your strategy, then certainly the second half of this diagram is for you. One of those options is you've got 2 pretty much IaaS type of solutions. So you can migrate your end-of-life versions of Windows SQL Server to VMware and Azure, if you're running VMware, say, in your current environment, or go to a VM virtual machine in Azure as an IaaS service. Again, this helps you in a 1 to 3 year time frame. That's because it provides as complementary extended security updates for that period of time to give you time to make that transition and move those workloads into a supported version of operating system and or the SQL Server environment. And there's programmatic support for that as well through AMP, Azure Migration Modernisation Program. I'll talk more about that in a moment. For those that are a bit more further in their journey or making decisions on what they should go, then highly consider the strategic longer term options. So upgrading to WinSQL Server running native Azure services such as IaaS or PaaS in that regard, or modernise completely to a SaaS or PaaS based service. There's a range of those options available for you as well. And why that's good for strategic long term is that moves into evergreen environment. So if you do that migration all the way to the end here, that's the last migration you'll need to do, because Microsoft will maintain and keep that environment always up to date, always with security patches in place. And no ESU, of course, is required for that. Again, programmatic support through AMP or hosted in Azure. So to think about that in more detail, we can look at, just to recap, the retire or do nothing is great. It's easy short term, but provides long term pain. You'll have potential pain around the compliance requirements if that's important for your organisation, or the longer term pain having to pay for the extended security updates and then still have to migrate anyway within 3 years. So how do you invest those funds or invest your time is something that's to be considered. Next best option then is to stay on premises if you're not cloud ready. So you have those options to upgrade on premises or use a hybrid solution like I mentioned before. So if you're not ready for cloud, again, that's a good way to move forward. If you are cloud ready, a good next step is to do a lift and shift effectively into cloud running into VMware and Azure or a IaaS VM. However, if you are already on that journey for modernisation, then the longer term option of moving to a WinSQL version on cloud native Azure services or modernising to PaaS services, it is ideal, but it's certainly much more effort involved to shift your workloads. A lot of organisational workloads won't support that transition either. So they're the 4 high-level options of the 8 separate options you have there. I just want to take just highlight that to help you with that move to cloud, Microsoft has the Azure Migration Modernisation Program, or AMP, and provides alignment to their framework, and there's skills building, there's financial incentives to help you move, there's tools for that, assistance from Microsoft experts and fast-track engineers, and you're also supporting Microsoft data centers, which are moving increasingly to being highly sustainable as well. So a lot of the carbon offsetting across their data centers was a positive impact on the environment. So I hope that was useful to take you through, some of the challenges you may be looking at right now and some of the end support requirements and how you can then make that journey. And certainly, if you would like to discuss those, please reach out to myself or one of your Data 3 representatives.